The Obi-Wan Kenobi finale, folks. I'm disappointed. If you've seen my previous Obi-Wan Kenobi video, you probably know what I'm going to say. I've been utterly disappointed with this show throughout. This season of television, for me, might actually be the most disappointing season of television I've ever watched. The only thing that maybe comes close is Game of Thrones Season 8, and even then, I would probably put this above there, simply because with Game of Thrones, I at least kind of expected it wasn't going to be that great because Season 7 was so much of a letdown for me, so I thought, okay, it's just going to be more of the same in Season 8. But with Obi-Wan, man, we were promised the heavens. We were promised so much with all this, like Anakin and Hayden being in all these interviews with Ewan McGregor and the two of them talking, and the way it looked was like we were going to get 6 solid episodes exploring the backstory between like these guys. We were going to get so many flashbacks. We were going to get to explore that relationship. And in the end, I think we got maybe 1 episode total at most of that sort of stuff. I mean, the flashbacks we eventually got where we actually saw Hayden's face were so minimal that they basically didn't even happen. You could honestly just rename this show to Leia a Star Wars story and it would be very fitting. Anyway, that's the show overall, but this episode specifically, let's talk about it for a second. What's the point, right, of a Star Destroyer having weapons? What's the point of any of these ships having weapons? The Star Destroyer that Vader's in is shooting at the ship Obi-Wan and Leia and all the rest of those people are in for quite a while, and they're all just quite calm and relaxed, sitting around talking, flying away side to side. What is the point in anyone in Star Wars having guns? What is the point in any of these ships having weapon systems when they can't even hit a stupid little passenger ship flying in front of them? What's the point? It's pathetic, and the action sequences in this show have been dreadful since day one. The choreography is dreadful, and the writing's... I'm so upset because I really wanted to love this show. And let's talk about Reva, whatever her name is, the third sister. She might be the most pathetic Force user we have ever seen in Star Wars. Genuinely, she might be the most pathetic Force user of all time. How the hell did a couple of farmers, Uncle Owen and his wife, held their own against someone with a lightsaber trained in the Force? Again, the action sequences in this show are just dreadful. What are these choreographers thinking? And can we also point out the fact that at the end of the last episode, she took a lightsaber to the gut, right? Lightsaber in the gut by Darth Vader, was left for dead. And yet the first time we see her after that, she's just walking around fine, hunky-dory. Walking around on Tatooine. What? No explanation there? How did she get there? How is she not dead? How is she not at least gravely injured? How is she walking around? What are these writers thinking? What's going on? What's going on here? And then let's talk about the fight between Vader and Obi-Wan. Right, now, it was certainly better than the fight from a few episodes back when we had it in episode 3 of the show. Not to be confused with episode 3 of the movie, because that fight was very good, very emotional, that was fantastic. But in episode 3 of the show, that fight was all... I didn't like it. But this one was a bit better. But at most, I would say it was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't even good. I mean, maybe it's the best action the show's had. Maybe. But that's not saying much, because most of the action has been downright dreadful. But what I must say is, at the start of this fight, when Obi-Wan's like, I will do what I must. Like, I get he's doing the callback to the movie when they had their last fight, but I cringed. I really cringed. It's like, it's like the writing team are some 14-year-olds writing fan fiction. It's like the very last line Obi-Wan says to Luke is like, hello there. It's like, this is just pure fan service. It's like, just fan fiction. That's what it is at this point. Folks, I'm just so annoyed. I'm so annoyed by this show. Just consistently bad writing, lazy writing, just bad writing, and laughably poor action choreography. Like, let's never forget how bad, even back in episode 1, which might have actually been the best episode of the show in my opinion, back in episode 1, we had Leia outrunning a group of guys who are coming to catch her, and she's outrunning them because they're waddling along like penguins. They're running after her like this, side to side, trying to, like, you can see they're purposely running slow. And then she ducks under a tree branch, and they're like, oh my god, how do we get her? Oh, can you not duck under the tree branch? Can you not just push the branch out the way? Like, that's how bad the choreography has been in this show. And it has just happened over and over and over again. I mean, we even had a scene in one of the episodes. Obi-Wan literally smuggles and hides Leia out of somewhere by hiding her under his jacket. Reva at one point, using her lightsaber to deflect lasers coming down from a ship that's shooting at her. Lightsabers not working the way they're supposed to. Like, the lightsabers in this, normally someone gets hit with a lightsaber, it cuts. Stormtroopers were being hit in this show with lightsabers, and instead of being cut and they're just dying, they were taking multiple hits. Or they were being left with scratches on their armor. It was like a Lego game, or like you're playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. That's what it was like. It wasn't like any Star Wars we've ever seen before. It's like, what happened to the lightsabers? How Reva, being stabbed by Darth Vader in the gut, gets up and walks away completely fine. The people making this show, directing this, writing it, doing the choreography, have no clue what they're doing. They were absolutely dreadful in this. And, you know, I'm not someone who likes to hate on people or whatever for, sometimes I acknowledge, okay, it wasn't for me. The show maybe wasn't for me, or this movie wasn't for me. It just wasn't to my taste. But I can acknowledge, okay, maybe other people like things about it. But this show, I just don't understand how people can defend a lot of the things. I mean, aside from the fact that to me, it was almost like false advertising. All these interviews with Hayden as if he's going to be like a main character in the show and we're going to be exploring all this stuff. Meanwhile, we see his face like 3 times for like 10 seconds each time. Like, aside from what I believe was almost false advertising, how do you defend the writing and the bad choreography here? The inconsistencies. I mean, was it episode 3? Leia's running along a tunnel and Reva just suddenly teleports to the end of the tunnel and beats her to the ship or whatever. Like, how does that even happen? None of it makes... I'm so upset. I really wanted to love this show, folks. I'm trying... I'm past the point of not being sour, because I am sour, and I can't hide that. I can't hide the fact that I'm so upset and disappointed. But because I am. I'm so annoyed, because I really wanted to love this show, and I gave it every chance, and I watched the first few episodes, and I'm like, okay, I don't like this part, but I do like that part, and I'm going to ignore this issue, but the issues just piled on, and piled on, and piled on, and nothing changed. And it just continued, and continued, and continued, and I'm so tired. I'm just tired thinking about this show. I'm so done with it. Anyway, I'm going to stop ranting there, because it can't be good for me thinking this negatively about something. Let me know what you're thinking about this in those comments. Like, did you find anything about this redeeming? Like, I see people leaving comments saying, oh my god, I loved it, and nostalgia, and this. I'm like, well, I'm happy for you. I'm happy you can feel that way about it, but I just can't. I just can't. And maybe that's me being too pernickety. I don't know. But I can't feel that way. I can't hide my disappointment. I would love to be able to. I'd love to feel as good as these other people do. I'd love to have that nostalgia mask over, but I can't. I just can't. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.